Welcome, everyone, to today's meeting of the NASG Advocacy and Action Network. We are very fortunate to have with us today Neil McConnochie, the founder and executive director of Blue Fusion Group, who created the LifeWrap company to develop and improve and promote the non-pneumatic anti-shock garment. So he's here with us today to talk about that development process and explain how LifeWrap came to be. So Neil, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks, Michelle, and yeah, pleasure to actually be able to do this. Apologies, I can't be doing it live with time zones, which sometimes a little bit unfriendly. However, looking forward to taking you through our overview and our path on the sort of journey with the NASG. In 2011, we were approached by representatives from PATH to work on a project to leverage our experience in neoprene products to develop the NASG to be more accessible to developing nations. The project objectives were to reduce the cost of use for each NASG, which is a low technology, cost-effective first aid used to treat shock, resuscitate, stabilize, and prevent further bleeding in patients, to an achievable cost per use, excluding shipping and duties of less than $1. And at the same time, obviously, ensuring that we achieved and exceeded the highest levels of quality of the finished garment itself. An extensive team at PATH was assigned to work with us in collaboration with Pathfinder and the University of California, San Francisco. Key considerations for the project were to develop a garment which was fit for purpose and would meet with the in-field demands from use through to cleaning and recycling of the garment to maximize the number of uses per individual garment. Standardizing quality control at all stages of the manufacturing and pre-delivery stage of the supply chain were key to this, and in doing so, also establishing manufacturing and compliance standards. From our perspective, understanding the expectations for the project, and in particular the NASG, we identified a need to develop a more durable and longer lasting fabrication which could achieve higher use cycles per garment lifespan. Using our extensive experience working with neoprene and in conjunction with the upstream suppliers, we worked on developing a new type of neoprene, which we called Duraprene, which could deliver a more robust and affordable garment. Key to obviously developing this new material was to ensure that the fabric itself met with the required and adequate pressure detection guidelines. A 40 millimeter Hg net pressure is recommended for the testing adequacy of the compression of the garment. And Dr. Miller will touch on this a little bit further later in the meeting. However, these tests were conducted and verified with the project collaborators during the development phase and are conducted regularly as part of our overall batch testing on material as it comes through the manufacturing system. Working in conjunction with the project collaborators to ensure the samples were fit for purpose, we identified a new formulation of material, or neoprene specifically, and jersey combination, which we then looked to engage an external or independent testing laboratory to see how we could achieve the maximum number of cycles for each garment. Using ISO 6330, which is an international standard for washing and drying procedures of fabrics, and using recommended cleaning concentrations alongside EN 14704, which is a tensile testing and elongation stretch standard, we conducted 144 cycles of testing in conjunction with Intertek. The outcome of these tests confirmed a consistently stable result of up to 144 cycles per garment, which allows the LifeWrap NASG to effectively achieve a cost per use, excluding freight, duty and transportation of less than 50 cents. There are two key steps to preserve the long life of the device. One is to obviously strictly adhere to the bleach content solution of each washing cycle, and more importantly, to ensure that the garment is not submerged for more than 10 minutes. Higher concentrations of bleach or submerging the garment for more than 10 minutes will ultimately result in the fabric being damaged and the lifespan significantly reduced. Now that we'd sort of got the actual material established, we felt it was very important at that point that we had, I guess, the ability to distinguish our product as being identifiable and recognizable as a life wrap. So in 2014, we acquired the license rights for the life wrap trademark. And established LifeWrap International Limited, which is a Blue Fusion Group company. And we also made the decision to change the color of the NASG as it was from blue to green for the medium large and purple for the small. Establishing LifeWrap International as a separate business entity also allowed us to be able to give back to maternal health care charitable initiatives. Alongside having a great garment or a great product and new specifications established for the NASG, we also wanted to ensure that we had the highest standards in manufacturing and quality control. Our factory is an accredited ISO 18345 manufacturing facility, which is a crucial and key standard for manufacturers and suppliers of medical devices. It establishes a framework to ensure consistent design, development, production, and delivery of medical devices, and ensuring that they're safe for their intended purpose. It aids in meeting with rigorous regulatory requirements, managing risk while ensuring best practices in all stages of the manufacturing process. The standard not only facilitates market access across different countries, but it also enhances trust among stakeholders through demonstrated commitment to safety and quality. The LifeWrap NASG is also CE accredited as a Class 1 medical device in Europe, which is effectively, I think, our CE marking is really regarded as an international benchmark for medical devices, specifically such as the NASG. This is maintained through Emergo, who are a leading consultant firm in global regulatory compliance, human factors, and quality management for medical devices themselves. As this all came together, I guess we summarized this as being really sort of the outcome of all the work that we did with Path and all of the collaborators was a results-orientated, low-cost, life-saving device. It's perfectly suited for low-resource countries due to its simple design, and can be fitted by anyone who's received the basic training. As part of our commitment to ensuring that that training does take place, we provide very simple and easy to follow fitting guidelines, which can also be produced in multilingual alternatives for different markets and different regions. And they can also be linked to a QR code, which is printed on the garment itself. So it means that if the fitting guidelines do get misplaced or lost, or they're all readily available, along with the actual other information, such as pictorial guide on how to fold the NASG after each use, so it can be redeployed for its next use, and other relevant information through that QR code. Ultimately, the opportunity beyond having a class-leading product is driven by market dynamics, which for the LifeWrap NASG has very much been driven by demand from regions and funding programs that support the opportunities which can allow for each initiative to optimize extensive deployment of the NASG across geographic regions. I know this is something that you'll be talking a little bit more after I've finished my presentation, but obviously working in conjunction with yourselves and all of your associated sort of partners and contacts, we're here in conjunction with our sort of partnership network to provide as much information that we can to ensure that we can get the NASG into market at the lowest possible price. In terms of how to purchase, for direct product and sales inquiries, those can be made directly to inquiries at lifewrapnasg.com, or alternatively through our distribution partner, Via Global, who Noah Perrin is actually on this call, and I know he'll be talking with Michelle a little bit more after this. I hope that's provided you a little bit more insight and context to the work that we've done over, I guess, the last 14 years. And in doing so, it sort of gives you a little bit more insight to other information and materials that we can provide to support various different initiatives and deployments in regional areas. For
Neil,
any questions, I'm sure Michelle will take those on, but thank you everyone for your time.
thank you so much, Neil. If you don't mind, I will ask you just a couple follow-up questions, but this is fantastic information, and I think really gives a lot of context for people who have been with us for a long time, and then also a great introduction for those who are new to the LifeWrap NASG. I
Sure.
just wanted to clarify for Via Global Health. So they are distributing specifically for the African region, right? Because we have people, I think, from all regions on this call. So we do have Asia partners in Asia and Latin America, Europe and North America.
Yes, they are indeed. They're uh, primarily for continental Africa. So yeah, for inquiries for other regional areas, as you've highlighted, that are on this call today, then please, yeah, reach out to us directly. Some of those programs do go through other government accredited agencies in those countries, and each individual sort of country or region does just have its processes on that we've found over the years in terms of how they get the NASGs into each market or region.
Perfect. Okay, that's really good to make sure that people are clear about that. Really helpful. I wanted to go back and when you were talking about how we got to 144 uses, and how you developed the neoprene into the duraprene, I think is really interesting to see that development. So what was the number of uses before you developed the duraprene?
Um, to our understanding, and from the information that we were provided, I believe it was sort of getting somewhere around about 60 uses.
Okay. So that was a huge jump to add 84 more uses per garment. So that's really incredible. And you have also, because there are other manufacturers on the market, so they're using, as far as we know, as far as you know, a more typical neoprene.
Um, I guess probably one way to look at it is that, yeah, the Duraprin is our own proprietary formulation of
Mhm.
the material, and part of not only just the neoprene material was also looking at the specific type of jersey that we were using and how it was being bonded onto the neoprene so that it
Mhm.
wasn't delaminating and coming away from the neoprene, and all of that really had to be done, as I mentioned earlier on the presentation, in collaboration with the various different partners that were working both within Path and externally to ensure that the garment then was able to still be fit for purpose in terms of achieving the necessary pressure requirements and more importantly being sized correctly and being able to fit comfortably.
Right. And I think it was helpful, and I think we'll ask Sue Ellen to maybe go through in a little more detail how to do the pressure testing, because I know that I think you and Sue Ellen have looked at some of the other products that have come to market more recently and found that some of them, either underperform as far as the pressure or even in some cases overperform to an extent that they could be harmful. Is that correct?
Yes, I mean, so Ellen will be best to sort of talk through on that. I think from our my perspective is our objective is obviously to build the highest quality NASG that can ensure that it does meet with all those necessary pressure requirements and the longevity perspective.
Right. I think it's just good to highlight that for people because I know that there's been some exploration of, sort of local manufacture and but it's good to understand sort of why we continue to recommend LifeWrap in particular due to the quality control and all this work that you've put into the development. Well, I appreciate your time so much. If we have more questions, I'm sure we'll forward them on to you that we're unable to answer during this meeting. And hopefully we'll be able to get you to some of our future calls. But thank you so much for your time, Neil.
No, absolutely. Pleasure being able to do this. And yeah, any questions, please field those through and look forward to when a future opportunity to be a part of this live comes up in the future.